where we are driving now. This is the Spirit Valley. And it brings us to our today's subject. Well, spirit, yeah, wine.
Welcome back, guys. Good morning from here, from the mountains of Bethlehem. Today we are taking you to a beautiful place, a gym in the mountains of Bethlehem, which is the monastery of CREMISAN and also the winery of CREMISAN. So we just drove through the Spirit Valley, as Taina told you, to go and try some good spirits.
Okay, good morning and welcome to our humble small winery. The winery is actually pretty old. It was started in 1885. An Italian priest came here. His name was Antonio Belloni. He was a Salesian priest, which is a Catholic part of priesthood. Of course, the Salesians were started by Don Bosco. He came here in 1885 and decided to build the winery for several reasons. Most notable of which, there were other convents in the Bethlehem area and they needed some kind of support in order to operate, and the winery provided for that, monetary support of course. Other than that, the winery also provided for families in need, orphans, and you know, the like. So it was, from the beginning, it was mainly as a charitable work. Also, they provided wine for Mass. White wine for Catholics and red wine for Orthodox, which this division is still to this day. So they still can't agree what color of wine they should use. Anyways, moving away from a little bit of history, this is the old part. Over here you can see our distillery, which we have since 1974. We use this in order to create 96–95% alcohol. Okay, we put in wine in here and we distill it and we produce the alcohol, which we later use for several drinks, such as brandy. We have a beautiful brandy that has been aged for 35 years. We have a beautiful arak, which we did recently, which is very strong. It's 53% alcohol. And we started also a range of liqueurs, so we use the alcohol for liqueurs. We have limoncello, lemon cream, which is similar to limoncello but with milk and cream. We have coffee liqueur and we have cherry liqueur. Okay, let's go inside to the newer part of the winery, and show you a little bit inside. So this is the newer part, like I said before. This is actually the warehouse where we put our cartons of wine bottles and the other bottles ready for labeling. And also this is where we bottle the wine. So this is the bottling machine. This is where we put the bottle over here. Of course, it's an empty bottle, no labels on it. Over here in this part, we wash it with distilled water to clean it. Over here we put in nitrogen gas in order to create a barrier between the wine and the air, because the biggest enemy to wine is air. It gets polluted, it's damaged. Okay, over here we fill it with the wine, and over here you can see there are numbers on this part. This is where it makes sure that all the wine bottles are filled at the same capacity, so we don't have wine bottles that are filled slightly more or bottles that are filled slightly less. So all of the bottles are filled the same. And over here you can see the wooden cork, right? This is where it creates kind of like a vacuum and put in the cork inside. That's why when you open a bottle of wine, it makes the sound pop. Now after that, the bottles are filled and ready but not labeled yet. What we do is that we take the bottles and we put them in steel cages, like you can see behind you over there. We keep them like this, of course horizontal, never vertical. If you keep them vertical, the cork will dry, and if the cork dries, there's gonna be some little holes inside it and air is going to get inside the bottle, and like we said before, air is the biggest enemy to wine. It will become vinegar after that, and it's damaged. So we keep it horizontal. The cork will stay always wet. It doesn't get damaged, and it survives. We also keep it like that because 70% of our sales, more or less, are locally, and 30% we export. So each market wants a different label for the bottles, especially the back label. So we keep it like this because we don't know where we are going to sell them yet. Now, when we finally decide where we are going to sell the bottles, we bring the cages over here, put them over here, and this is the labeling part of the machine. Here is where we put in the plastic cap on the top of the bottle. This is actually very hot. It melts it. It melts the cap to take the beautiful shape of the top of the bottle. And over here, we label it simultaneously from the front and from the back. After that, the bottles are ready. We put them over here. This is the boxing machine. And if you look all around you, you can see boxes of wine.
So how much wine do you produce, annually?
Around 180 to 200,000 bottles.
180 to 200,000.
Of course, because of COVID, it was a very bad situation. But hopefully, it's just it's a small amount of time, and we hopefully we can weather it. And
so the countries that you export to, which countries specifically?
The USA, the UK, Italy, Vietnam, Japan, Germany.
Vietnam.
Yeah. Sweden, Norway. I think China also. Don't know correctly if it's also China. Recently, we started also in the north of Israel, so hopefully, things start moving.
Actually, I tasted many times in Tiberias. Actually, they do wine tasting and they use the CREMISAN wine in tasting.
We're pretty well known. Building, which of course we can't see right now, there's a machine called the crusher and destemmer. We put in the grapes, there's a spinning part inside, it crushes the grapes and removes the stem. Now, if it's white grapes, the first thing we do is that we bring the juice and the skin using pipes like these and put them in this machine behind you, the red one. This crushes the juice and the grapes even further and removes the skin and the seeds and everything else from the juice. So now you have the juice ready for fermentation. If it's white grapes. If it's red grapes, first thing we do after crushing it is that we bring it over here. The reason is that the redness of the wine, the redness of the juice actually comes from the skin. Okay? So by keeping it here for a week to 2 weeks, it takes the beautiful color of redness, and after that we take the juice and we put it in the crusher again, and we repeat the same process that we did with the white grapes. And we have the juice ready for fermentation and to start the first steps in the journey of winemaking. Let's go inside, back to the older part again. We're back to the old part of the winery. One of the final stages of winemaking after the wine is ready is to clean the wine. So if you look over here, these 4 refrigerators, they actually, they're a chill filtration system. We put in the wine inside it, we freeze it to -4 degrees Celsius. Of course, at that degree, at that temperature, the wine does not freeze. However, all the bad particles swimming inside the wine, they freeze. They become heavier and they sediment at the bottom. So by doing that, we only take the good part of the wine. Of course, after that undergoes more filtration processes. This is only part of it, but it's nice to know how this works. And if you look here all around, you can see these old cement pools. This is what they used in older days to make wine. Can you see them, the brown ones? There's also on the other side inside. And if you see all of these tanks, they're filled with wine. We like our white wines to be as fresh as possible, so we don't age them in wooden barrels, we keep them in stainless steel tanks. As for the red wines, we age them for a minimum of 12 to 14 months. And if you look at the style of building, this is old stones. We cleaned them a couple of years ago, but this is all old. And it's built in a way to preserve the temperature here the same all year round. And this is the oldest part of the winery and the most beautiful. This is the barrique. This is where we age our red wines and our brandy. All of these, the big barrels over here and the smaller ones over here, and the ones here, these are all filled with red wine. Of course, different kinds of red wines. And behind, this is the brandy. Some of the brandies in these bottles have been aging for over 40 years. So our next bottling is going to be older than 35. It's going to be a minimum of 40 years old. So it's a really old brandy. We usually open the red ones for 15 minutes before drinking, because it needs to air a little bit, because a little bit airing for red wines gives it a little bit of better taste, better aromas. So it's nice to open it a bit beforehand, 15 minutes earlier. White wines, it's fine. White wines have to be chilled though, so it's a good idea to put it in the fridge for an hour or two before drinking.
Biblical wines, because you are resurrecting indigenous species of grapes that have been grown since the biblical period, even before the biblical period. Talking about even Canaanite time, and probably Jesus. Probably Jesus. Yeah. And it is too much relation with the Bible and the wines. The first miracle of Jesus was turning the water into wine. So it is very important.
We don't know what kind of grape that was.
Well, we don't know exactly, but in a way, this is our indigenous species.
If
so
you can't finish it, of course you can put it over here.
Don't worry, I can for sure finish my glass.
We can have another glass.
she's finished originally.
Between Hamdani grapes and Jandali grapes. 50% Hamdani and 50% Jandali. This particular bottle is a vintage of 2019, like the Dabuki, and it has the same alcohol content, which is 12%. Now, it's also very gold looking. It looks very similar to the Dabuki, if not the same. However, if you smell it,
Different.
it's a bit smoother.
Yeah.
I think it's more mellow than the Dabuki. It has more of a banana smell in it, a little less acidic, and you can. I mean, like immediately you can smell that it's not. There's no.
Doesn't matter, we'll take it to the fridge.
There's no minerality.
Yeah.
Not too much minerals.
Okay, if you sip it, take a sip. It's still acidic.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
less.
More fruity.
This is more watery.
More watery, more fruity, not as strong, let's say, on the senses as the Dabuki. This is why I told you we're going to start talking about cheese later. This I think is better with fresh cheese.
Exactly.
It's better with pastas also, because it's not as acidic and it's not as mineral. So this is, I think it's better with pastas,
White meat.
lasagnas. Bottle that we are going to try, it's the Baladi. It's a dry red wine. Baladi also is the only grapes that we grow here in CREMISAN. The others we buy from suppliers, either from inside Israel, or there's a family from Beit Jala that own land close to Rishon LeZion, close to Hebron. We buy grapes from them also. This is the only one we grow here. This particular bottle is a vintage of 2016. Like I told you, we like to age our red wines. However, our white wines, we like them to be fresh. This particular bottle is 12.5% alcohol. Now, if you look at it, it's very dark.
Yeah.
It's very red.
Full body.
It's not. The color is full bodied.
Yeah.
However, you're gonna try the taste now. One of our strengths is that we create wines that are very light, very easy to drink. You can put it in the fridge, drink it cold. Here, take a smell. You can smell the vanilla of the wood. You can also smell some fruitiness to it, a little bit of cherries maybe, a little bit of berries also. It's not very strong, it's not a very strong aroma, however it's sublime and beautiful and it's easy to understand. If you try it, it's very smooth, a little bit acidic. You can taste the vanilla of the wood also. No aftertaste, a low count of tannins, doesn't dry out the mouth, light bodied. It's nice during winter, during summer. It's a good drink, it's a flexible drink. You can also taste the cherries and berries that we talked about earlier, the fruitiness in it. It's a very good, light, nice, sublime red wine. Of course, as a red wine, it's very good with pork, with red meat, barbecues maybe. If you're a cigar aficionado and you have a very light cigar, of course, medium-bodied or strong cigars, full-bodied cigars might overpower it. However, light-bodied cigar can go hand in hand with this, and you can actually enjoy both. If you have aged cheese, this is really nice. It complements the taste. In this corner, we have our medium sweet wines, the Mesa White. This is actually what we use for Mass. The Mesa Red, also what we use in Orthodox Mass. This is for Catholics, this is for Orthodox. And we have a port wine, a very light port wine, by the way. It's not very sweet, it's medium sweet. Over here, we have our table wines. The Star of Bethlehem dry red wine and the Star of Bethlehem dry white wine. These are blends. And here we have the baby small versions of them. Over here we have our new line of liqueurs. This is limoncello. This is coffee liqueur, which is actually Arabic coffee flavored brandy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so...
Yeah. And here also cherry liqueur, which is cherry flavored brandy. Over here we have grape vinegar, which we make from our grapes, and we age them for at least a year. And here we have natural grape juice without any alcohol. It's very sweet, but like we said, the Dabuki grapes, they're very sweet, so it's the sweetness of the grapes. Over here we have the brandy, which is aged for 35 years. Here our new 53% alcohol Arak, very strong, so when you mix it with water, the taste is still there. This is actually a limited edition bottle that we did in 2013 called Rosso Vecchio. Each bottle is numbered, so once we finish them, there's not gonna be any more, so pick them while you see them. And over here we have our top line of wines, which you tasted most of them. This is Baladi, this is the Dabuki, this is the Hamdani Jandali. We tried all these. And over here there's the Cabernet Sauvignon. We have a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon here also in CREMISAN. And we have in CREMISAN 3,600 olive trees. So we make our own olive oil.
This is like butter.
So this
is for you. You know, and if you put it in the fridge, it comes like as a butter when it's cold.
This is for you. It's a beautiful olive oil. I like to fill the salads with it.
So what we are here?
So here we have our 35-year aged brandy, which is actually we're gonna try history.
Okay,
try it.
let's
The smell is
try it.
also. Try it. Very smooth. It has, I don't like to label it as an aftertaste because it's not really an aftertaste, but I think the tastes, they keep going through your mouth even after you take your first sip. You can still like feel it on your tongue. The tastes are opening up.
This taste, one word I have, quality.
Quality, and of course, because of the age, you have to know that the more a spirit ages, the more volatile its components become. So do not, under any circumstances, add water or ice to it, because at 35 years you'll destroy it. If it was 12, 10, 8 years, it's perfectly fine. Even whiskey, it's the same thing with whiskey. If a spirit ages for more than 20, 30 years, don't put water, don't put
Limoncello, but this is too sweet for me. It's like, oof, sweet.
It was a fun time with Gabriel. He's amazing. When you come here to Bethlehem, ask for Gabriel always.
This is engagements, the wine festival. See, some of the parts here, they're still under construction. We're trying to renovate, make it even better looking. So if you're gonna get married soon, please come here.
Gabriel is the guy to ask for when you are in CREMISAN. The best wine tasting, guys. So these are the vineyards, the Baladi vineyards. Of course, been harvested already, very recently. And all these grapes are grown on terraces, man-made terraces. And you can see Jerusalem on the other side. And we still have some grapes. As you see, this is the Baladi grapes. Most of being harvested. It's a pleasure to be here. And we can see the olive groves. So quiet. Beautiful place.
Hey.
This is the effect of the alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Which is good. We're having fun. No, but if you're having fun with some quality people and enjoying yourself with some quality food, wow.
Don't forget to book your wine tasting while you are in Bethlehem.
Like and share.